Picture the sweeping roofline of an AMC Marlin, curving like a wave frozen in steel. Imagine sliding into the cockpit of a Studebaker Avanti, its futuristic gauges glowing like those of a jet fighter, or the steady hum of an Oldsmobile Toronado gripping the pavement on a rainy night. Unbothered by the storm. These weren't just cars, they were bold statements from a decade that thrived on risk and imagination. Many have slipped into obscurity, overshadowed by flashier legends. Yet each carried a brilliance far ahead of its time. Before we shift into gear, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow. Today, we're revisiting 10 forgotten cars from the 1960s that proved innovation doesn't always get the glory. Rounding out our list at number 10 is the Studebaker GT Hawk, a grand touring coupe that could stand shoulder to shoulder with Europe's finest. Yet came from a small-town factory in South Bend, Indiana. By 1962, Studebaker was fighting for survival. But designer Brooks Stevens transformed the aging Hawk platform into something elegant and modern. The fins were shaved, the lines cleaned, and a bold, Mercedes-style grille gave it a touch of continental flair. Under the hood, the GT Hawk came standard with a 289 cubic inch V8. But buyers could opt for the R-Series supercharged versions pumping out up to 335 horsepower. In a lightweight 3.000-pound body. That meant 0 to 60 in under 8 seconds, Corvette territory. The suspension, with anti-roll bars front and rear, gave it poise in corners, while the steering was quick and precise. Inside, it was pure touring luxury, leather-trimmed bucket seats, a dash filled with jewel-like gauges, and the kind of build quality you only get from craftsmen who know every car they build might be their last. On the open road, it was smooth, fast, and utterly composed, the perfect long-distance cruiser. But timing was its enemy. Studebaker's declining dealer network scared away buyers, and parts availability became a concern. Fewer than 14.000 GT Hawks were built before production ended in 1964. Today, the survivors are cherished by enthusiasts who recognize what it was, the last great gasp of an independent American automaker. And a car that deserved far more applause than it ever got. Coming in at number 9 is the Chrysler Turbine Car, a machine so futuristic it felt like it belonged on an airport runway, not a city street. In 1963, Chrysler built 55 identical bronze coupes powered not by pistons, but by an actual turbine engine, the kind you'd find in a helicopter. This turbine could run on almost anything flammable: gasoline, kerosene, diesel, jet fuel, even perfume or tequila. It had 60% fewer moving parts than a conventional engine, no radiator, and started instantly in any weather. On the road, it delivered a smooth, uninterrupted rush of power, no gear changes. Just a steady whoosh and a distinctive jet-like whine that turned heads everywhere it went. Chrysler loaned 50 of these cars to everyday Americans for 3-month test drives, gathering real-world feedback. Most loved the novelty and the silky performance. But there were hurdles. The exhaust was scorching hot. Fuel economy hovered around 11 miles per gallon. And each car cost a small fortune to build. By the late 1970s, rising emission standards and high production costs ended the dream. Chrysler destroyed most of the fleet, leaving only 9 survivors, now scattered between museums and private collections. One still roams the streets in Jay Leno's garage. Proof that the turbine car wasn't just an experiment, it was a glimpse of a future that never came. Coming in at number 8 is the Chevrolet Corvair Monza Spider, a car that proved American ingenuity could rival Europe's best sports machines. In 1962, Chevrolet took its air-cooled, rear-engine Corvair and gave it something no American production car had ever seen: a turbocharger. The result was 150 horsepower in a lightweight, 2.400 pound package, enough to push it past 110 miles per hour. Right into Porsche territory. The Spider wasn't just about speed. Its rear engine layout gave it exceptional traction and nimble handling when driven skillfully. With quick steering, excellent brakes, and a curb-hugging stance, it felt more like a big European coupe than anything Detroit was building at the time. Inside, you got a driver-focused cockpit, bucket seats, a 4-speed manual, and a special gauge cluster that included a boost gauge, a detail that made you feel like a jet pilot. But the Spider's brilliance was overshadowed by controversy. Ralph Nader's unsafe at any speed targeted the Corvair's early handling quirks. And even though Chevrolet had corrected them by 1964, the damage to its reputation was permanent. Sales collapsed, and the Monza Spider vanished after just 3 model years. Today, it's remembered by enthusiasts not as a safety scandal, but as a bold, affordable sports car that brought turbocharging to the American road long before it was mainstream, a piece of 1960s innovation that deserved far better than becoming a punchline. Coming in at number 7 is the 1963 Kaiser Jeep Wagoneer, the vehicle that quietly invented the luxury SUV decades before the term even existed. At a time when 4-wheel drive meant bare-bones trucks with vinyl seats and metal dashboards, the Wagoneer dared to combine rugged capability with genuine comfort. From the outside, it looked modern and purposeful, with clean lines, big glass, and a tall, commanding stance. Inside, it broke every rule in the off-road playbook: wall-to-wall carpeting, padded dash, comfortable bucket seats, and even a center console. This was a cabin designed for families, not just ranch hands. Underneath, the Wagoneer was just as revolutionary. It was the first 4-wheel drive vehicle available with an automatic transmission, making off-road driving far more accessible. An independent front suspension smoothed out the ride, and its spacious interior could seat 6 adults or swallow gear for a weekend in the mountains. The catch? In 1963, few buyers saw the point of a plush 4x4. Wealthy families had Cadillacs for comfort and old pickups for rough work. Sales were steady but never spectacular. Yet the Wagoneer's design endured, barely changed, for nearly 3 decades, proof that Kaiser Jeep had nailed the formula long before the world caught on. Today, it's recognized as the grandfather of the modern luxury SUV, a pioneer that was simply too far ahead of its time. Coming in at number 6 is the first-generation Pontiac Tempest, a car that looked ordinary on the outside but hid some of the most radical engineering Detroit ever tried. When it debuted in 1961, the compact car market was exploding, and Pontiac wanted something truly different. They delivered a machine that thought so far outside the box, it barely recognized the box existed. Instead of a standard driveshaft, the Tempest used a thin, flexible rope drive that connected the front-mounted engine to a rear-mounted transaxle. This clever setup created near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, giving the Tempest handling more like a European sports car than a typical American sedan. Independent suspension at all 4 corners made the ride surprisingly smooth, while the steering was light and precise for its time. Under the hood, the base engine was just as unusual, essentially half of Pontiac's big 389 V8. Turned into a massive for its Class 4 cylinder, it made an impressive 140 horsepower, more than enough for a small car in 1961. Buyers could also choose a 6-cylinder or small V8, along with manual or automatic transmissions. The problem? America wasn't ready for so much innovation in an economy car. The rope drive made strange noises. The swing axle suspension could be tricky in the wrong hands, and dealers didn't know how to explain it. By 1964, Pontiac abandoned the experiment for a more conventional layout. But for those who've driven one, The original Tempest remains a fascinating reminder of when Pontiac wasn't afraid to gamble big on brilliance. Coming in at number 1 is the AMC Marlin, a car that looked like nothing else on the road in the mid-1960s. Born from American Motors Corporation's Rambler Classic, the Marlin debuted in 1965 as AMC's bold leap into the fastback trend. But while Ford and Plymouth chased sleek, speed-focused profiles, AMC took a different route. They sculpted a sweeping roofline that stretched gracefully to the rear bumper, giving passengers in the back far more headroom than any other fastback could offer. Inside, the Marlin was pure comfort, reclining bucket seats, a futuristic center console, and a panoramic rear window that made the cabin feel open and airy. Under the hood, AMC's new 290 cubic inch V8 delivered smooth, steady power, paired with a torque tube drive system that made highway cruising remarkably stable. It wasn't about drag strip glory, it was about effortless miles. Critics dismissed its styling as awkward, and buyers looking for a fastback didn't see the appeal. In just 3 years, fewer than 20,000 were sold. But for those who owned one, the Marlin wasn't a failed experiment, it was a rare blend of innovation and comfort. A grand tourer hiding in plain sight. Today, finding one feels like discovering buried treasure. So, which of these brilliant 1960s machines do you remember, or wish you could drive just once? From the futuristic lines of the Studebaker Avanti to the jet-powered roar of the Chrysler Turbine Car, each of these cars was proof that innovation sometimes arrives before the world is ready. Drop a comment below and tell us which one you think was the most ahead of its time. Or share a story if you've ever seen one in person. And if you enjoyed this trip down the forgotten roads of automotive history, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more journeys back to America's golden era of motoring. After all, some ideas and some cars are simply too good to be forgotten.